Hello, everyone. I'm Troy Patterson, VP of Sales and Marketing at ThinkPart, the company behind BeeGFS, and I'm super excited to sit today with two of my colleagues, Philipp Falk, VP of Engineering, and Joe McCormick, Principal Engineer, to talk about the upcoming bug BeeGFS User Group taking place in St. Louis on November the 17th. Gentlemen, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey,
Good
Troy.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us. This is exciting. St. Louis will be our third live BeeGFS user group meeting in the USA. We first launched Virtual Bug in 2020, running again as a virtual event in 2022. We all know why. And then back in 2023, we hosted our first live user group meeting in Denver. And last year at Supercomputing in Atlanta, we hosted the second one. So I was wondering, you both have been core speakers at all our user group meetings in the USA and of course at ISC in Hamburg in Europe. Do you have a favorite memory or moment from a past user group meeting that you'd like to share with everyone?
I think in general, it's this feeling of going into Bug in the morning, seeing all the people, having direct contact with our user base, telling you about our development, going into technical detail. That whole thing, I think, is really great for us. And of course, also the fun activities that we do around it. I think 2 years ago, we went bowling afterwards with everybody. We had a little bit of lunch. Yeah, I just like the general concept.
I think it's nice to meet to welcome the community there, both our partners and customers. Joe, do you have a favorite moment as well or memory?
For me, I'd say it's any time that we get some kind of idea sparked from our community for some new feature or something that we can do in BeeGFS, and I have this kind of, oh, we could do that moment. And then, usually it takes us some time to actually do that, but then 6 months later, I can point back to a specific time at Bug where, I'd even a face where I can remember I was like, oh yeah, this was the person that asked us for this feature, like SC Linux, for example.
Yeah, I mean, a key part of Bug is our interaction from our engineering team and sales team, pre-sales team, development team with our users. And I see this year we've got a lineup of great sessions put in the program. Maybe you can give us a sneak peek of some of the sessions which attendees should be most excited about. I see that we have some pretty fancy session titles, Joe. I think you could be behind some of this naming with Philip as well, such as Sunsetting BeeGFS 7, Entry Migrate Work Smarter, Not Harder. Do you want to elaborate a bit here about some of the sessions?
Yeah, I think Joe is the brain behind a lot of these titles, but I think in general, we're going to talk about what we've been working on, about the improvements to BeeGFS 8 that we've made since the release, about new functionality, and we're also going to go deeper on some of the functionality, having a close interaction, having some feedback. And yeah, overall, we have exciting topics. We have improvements to the security system around BeeGFS. We have improvements to ACLs. We have some improvements to RSTs again to show, and we're going to go into more detail about things like IPv6 that we recently added.
Great. And Joe, that creativeness of the titles, are they coming from you when you're having a shower, outside when you go for your morning jog, or just sitting at your desk every day, especially sunsetting BeeGFS 7?
Really any time, any place. So pop in my mind. But yeah, it's a
We
lot of
keep
fun
the
to come up
marketing
with
team
these.
happy this year with some of these titles. So there's some great campaigns happening out there around the event. Thanks for the hard work on that. Philip, along with our partners and customers, who else would you encourage to attend Bug and what can they expect to take away from it?
I think I would encourage everybody who's interested in the world of data storage in the HPC AI world. I think BeeGFS has moved a lot into data management as well, from being just a parallel and very fast file system. And we try to combine these different worlds. And I think that's interesting for everybody who has to or who wants to store large amounts of data, wants to have very fast access to that data, and wants to be able to move that data around if needed. Yeah, so that's kind of the target audience.
Perfect. And obviously, partners, customers, and anyone interested in seeing BeeGFS is welcome to come along to Bug. We'll talk about how to register and know more later on. Joe, one session on the agenda is BeeGFS on GitHub. I think about 18 months ago this move happened. I could be wrong, could have been 2 years ago. But further in the community contributions, how does how does BeeGFS help build the BeeGFS community? So how does Bug help build the BeeGFS community even?
Yeah, so we really use Bug as kind of a way to get feedback on what we're working on and kind of gauge if what we're doing is actually exciting and relevant to people, or if maybe we should, put that thing on the backlog and pick up something else. So we really do listen to your feedback. Bug happens twice a year right now, and so we like to throughout the year also keep an eye on GitHub and interact with our community there. So if you're not already on GitHub, please find us, star repo, interact with us, open issues. We have discussions enabled. We try to engage with you as often as possible on that because, like I said, Bug only happens twice a year. So, come find us on GitHub in the meantime.
Fantastic. Philipp, very excitingly, a few months back, we launched BeeGFS 8. I believe it was around May timeframe with a public announcement just on ISC timing, which was super exciting for us in the community. Can you share what's new in BeeGFS 8 and what people can expect to learn about it at Bug in St. Louis? I also see that on the agenda, IPv6 has appeared.
Yeah, I mean, BeeGFS 8 was our first major release in quite a long time, and we packed a lot of features into that. And seeing that actually roll out to people and being adopted in the market was a big thing this year. And while this was going on the front and on the user side, we actually put a lot more improvements into BeeGFS 8, and we had announced BeeGFS 8 as kind of the 8.0 release as kind of this framework that we want to build on, and we've really built on that in the last couple of months with the last releases that we put out. If I look at the release notes, specifically for the 8.2 release, it's quite a lot. It's almost enough for a major release that what we put in there. So it's quite exciting. You mentioned IPv6. Support for IPv6. IPv6 is becoming more and more important in customer systems. We heard a lot about that at last supercomputing, and we've implemented it over the year. It's working now, and yeah, the other things that we've worked on is obviously improvements to the RST functionality. RSTs are a big part of our strategy to interact with different storage systems, and we've added a ton of functionality to that, like being able to download files based on patterns, and yeah, a lot more file states. We have added a data management API. We've added more support in the area of Linux security, SE Linux support. We've improved the ACL performance in BeeGFS. So there is a lot of different things that we're going to talk about, and we also want to leave some things for Bug.
Yeah, and I also think a lot of our community customers and partners are going to have a lot of feedback to give us about BeeGFS, considering a lot of them have been using it for the last few months now. So we're really looking forward to that feedback, hearing it live at Bug as well. Joe, prior to joining the ThinkPark team, you were heavily involved with BeeGFS at your previous company. So with all these years of experience, how do you think BeeGFS is evolving to meet the demands of today's HPC and AI workloads?
Yeah, so AI in particular, I see a need to be able to move data between different types of storage media, whether that's parallel file systems, whether that's object storage, whether that's NFS. And one of the things that was missing from BeeGFS, I felt, was the ability to make all of that data movement really a seamless experience. So since I've joined ThinkPark, we added remote storage targets as a feature that integrates with S3 object storage. We added a parallel copy tool, so copying data between BeeGFS and NFS or other POSIX file systems is as easy as BeeGFS copy, A to B. So yeah, really our focus on data management, I think has helped us evolve to meet modern HPC demands and also fit very nicely into AI.
Yeah, and more of that can be learned about at Bug and also on our booth, which I'll talk about very shortly, which has a lot of the number 8 all over it from the latest booth build graphics I've just recently seen. We're looking forward to that. Philipp, this will be, I think by memory, your 6th supercomputing show, roughly, your 3rd live Bug. in the USA. You've done a few more in Europe. What are you personally most excited about this year's meeting?
I'm not quite sure about the numbers, but it sounds about right. I think um, what we've uh, what we've added in Hamburg this year was this workshop kind of thing that we added on at the end of Bug, where we had a very close session. We asked everybody to move closer. We had a very close interaction uh, with everybody who was there, and it was a lot of people actually that stayed for the workshops, which was great. And we were able to go into a lot of detail about the new functionality. So that's kind of for the engineering nerd. That's the stuff, right? You go into what we have actually built, how have we built it, how does it work, what is it useful for, and that interaction and that feedback that we got in that session, I think that was very exciting to me. We got a lot out of that. We followed up on some of these things. We took these things and based decisions around them. And for this year's Bug in St. Louis, we also have that concept of a deep dive, which I think is kind of the same thing. We want to get close to the topics. We want to get into some technical detail, and yeah, we want to nerd out about things and figure out what your take on our decisions during the development process is, and get your feedback, get ideas for improvements, and also get the positive feedback that we got at the workshop that the functionality that we built looks like what people have expected and what people are actually interested to use.
And I believe we've rolled this out into a 1 hour extra format this year at Bug in the USA from about 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And our marketing team have happily catered lunch for it, which didn't happen in Hamburg. So, along with the complimentary breakfast, the buffet, the catered lunch we're hosting for all the attendees, and the great information our engineering team will be sharing with all the attendees. Is someone still on the fence about attending? And I don't know why they would be, but just in case, what would you say to convince them to join us in St. Louis?
I would say Bug is really put on by engineers for, engineering minded people. There's no marketing fluff here. I'm not a marketer. I don't know how to be fluffy. So if you want to come in and learn some stuff about HPC storage, about BeeGFS, here's the time to do it. And, we'd love to make it interactive as well and hear from you, as Philipp has said.
And from what I understand, there's going to be some great baseball/trucker caps, whatever you refer to them, given out to all of the attendees this year with the great BeeGFS 8 logo on it. Am I right?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorites.
Fantastic. Philipp and Joe, it's always a pleasure. I can't wait for Bug, and I'm sure the rest of our community can't as well. Looking forward to seeing you both in a couple of weeks and the rest of our speakers up on stage. Don't forget, you can learn more about Bug on our community page at beegfs.io. And if you will be at Supercomputing, we will have a massive presence this year highlighting BeeGFS 8 and on our booth number 3740. Looking forward to seeing you at Bug in St. Louis, and of course at the show floor at Supercomputing. Have a great day and thank you for watching.